Good afternoon. My name is Brady Sumrow, and I'm here today to discuss customs and etiquette in the city of Berlin. Berlin is Germany's capital, and it's also its largest city with 3.1 million residents. I want to start by discussing appropriate business attire while you're visiting the city of Berlin. Making first impressions are very important, and the way you dress does say a lot about you in the German culture. First, you want to stick with more neutral colors, black, gray, navy, and definitely avoid the brighter colors. They're viewed as unprofessional. Also, the clothing style in Berlin is well tailored, so you want to avoid baggy clothes, clothes that don't fit you properly. When clothes are baggy, they're viewed as frumpy, and frumpy is viewed as unprofessional. Also, men need to wear sports coats or suit jackets, and that is at all times, even in the warmer weather. The only time where removing your jacket in a business situation is appropriate is if you were at a meeting with someone of a higher ranking than you and they remove their jacket, then in turn they are giving you the okay to remove yours. Also, take heed when it comes to makeup and jewelry. You don't want to do anything too gaudy. Anything over the top is unprofessional, so just keep it natural, keep it light. Now I want to discuss the most important quality in Berlin culture, and that is punctuality. You need to be on time for everything, whether it is a lunch, a dinner, a meeting, anything. In order to keep yourself on time, you should practice the 5-minute rule. The 5-minute rule is if you are not at least 5 minutes early, then you're late. Also, you need to plan ahead, especially if you're planning on taking public transportation to meetings. You need to know the train schedule, bus schedule, etc. If you find that it is absolutely unavoidable and you are going to be late, you need to call the person you are having a meeting with as soon as you know. Do not wait until the meeting time. Call them as soon as you are aware. Now I want to discuss body language. That is something that is not immediately thought about, but it is very important. You need to keep clear, consistent eye contact when you're speaking with somebody. It is a sign of respect. You don't want to be looking around. It's rude. You also need to keep your hands out of your pockets. It makes you look more focused and more engaged in the conversation. Also in Berlin, they have a generous personal space distance, so keep about an arm's length away from the people you're speaking to. Also, there might be some hand motions that you have not seen before that they do in Berlin. One of them is when they ball their hand into a fist and do a few short knocks on the table. That means good luck or I agree with you. Another thing to take heed of is there is a hand symbol that in America means okay, but in German it's incredibly inappropriate. So do steer clear of using the okay hand symbol, and it's almost better to steer clear of any hand gestures as you are not quite sure what all of them mean in a different country. Now, if you do find yourself at a business dinner or business lunch, I have a few etiquette tips as far as that is concerned. First, the host initiates everything. Even if you receive your drink first or you receive your food first, you should wait for the host to initiate. And there will be social cues. For example, when everyone gets their drinks, the host will usually stand up, say a few words, and Prost or cheers. And when they say that is inappropriate to start drinking, the same goes for food. Once everyone receives their food, the host will usually say Guten Appetit, and that means enjoy, time to eat. So then you can begin eating. Also, you would need to keep your elbows off of the table. That is relatively common. However, one thing in Berlin that is not as common is your hands need to remain visible. So while you're eating, you want to keep the other hand on the table so that it is visible. Don't have it resting in your lap. Also, the host is usually the one that pays the bill. The invitor pays the bill, and the invitee usually does not. Also, I have some conversation points. Now, anytime you meet someone, whether it's the first time or the 50th time, you need to shake their hand at the beginning of the conversation and at the close. When you are speaking to someone, you need to use their title and their last name. This is especially true with educational titles such as doctor or professor. The business world is considered very serious and is considered separate from the play world in Germany, so avoid using slang or jokes or sarcasm. They don't feel there's a place for that in business. In Berlin, it is business now, play later, so keep the jokes and things aside. Also, keep in mind there are sensitive topics that you do not need to tread on, whether it is a joke, whether it's minor or major, no matter how close you feel with someone. And one of those important topics would obviously be the Nazi Germany, Germany's position in World War II. Anything of that nature needs to stay very far away. Also, I want to touch on gift giving. Now, gift giving is not very common in Germany anymore, especially not in Berlin. If you are going to give a gift in a business situation, you want it to be something small and office related, like a pin with your logo on it or a notepad. But the only time that it is acceptable to bring gifts is usually if you're invited to a business dinner at someone's home, something more personal. And in that case, you would bring chocolate, alcohol, flowers, things of that nature. Still small things, inexpensive things. Now, if you do choose flowers, keep in mind there are a few you should avoid. Roses symbolize romanticism. You'd want to avoid that. Carnations symbolize mourning, so you'd want to avoid that as well. Also, if the place you bought the flowers had a wrapper around it, you want to go ahead and take that off before giving it to the host. Just a few more additional business customs I think would be important to take heed of. You need to schedule all appointments. There is no walk-in situation. All appointments need to be scheduled. The decision-making process is slower in Germany, and that's because it's made by the higher officials, so it has to work its way up the chain. Also, Germans are sometimes considered blunt individuals. Do not take that as them being rude. They just stick to business, and that is all. So just going over a few key points that I want you to remember. Berlin is a city rich with culture and business is incredibly important there. You need to keep all of these customs in mind when you're doing any sort of communication. It's the only way to make sure you have a smooth business flow. Dress appropriately. Definitely always be on time and take heed of your body language. You don't want to be over the top. You want to just keep it all professional in business. Practice etiquette in all situations. And if you follow all of these, you should have a smooth and seamless trip to Berlin. Auf Wiedersehen!